Good morning. Thank you for joining me. My name is Julie. I am the owner and founder of Lady Vialti Healing, and my mission is to help you help yourself. So thank you for joining me this morning. We're going to talk about a couple of things today. We're going to talk about the sign of the Taurus today. I do have other videos you can go back and watch on the astrological signs, birth signs that we've gone through. We started in January, so as we've been going through the calendar, I've been doing, as we're in each sign, I've been going over that sign. So we are still in the sign of the Taurus. Starting, I think Tuesday, we'll be going over to the sign of the Gemini. So sometime in the next, couple of weeks after that or whatever, we'll go over the Gemini. For the Taurus, like I have done in the past, I also I've also posted, my McAfee's popping up. I've also posted Athena's video on Taurus. Like I've said before as well, they are older videos. I think they're like 5 or 6 years old. So if she's talking about specials or promos or upcoming things, those are not relevant, but I think the information in the videos about the signs is very relevant. Hi, Patty. Thanks for popping on and joining me this morning. I'm going to just invite some people real quick here. And so I hope everybody's had a good couple of days since Tuesday. And so I just wanted to go over with everybody. I usually try to tell some little thing while I'm doing this so you guys aren't just sitting here staring at me doing this. But I have come to the age where I am having hot flashes. So if you're seeing me take my sweater on and off, because like right now I am dying of heat. Usually in the morning I have my little fireplace going, but I didn't turn it on this morning because I'm dying of heat. But anyway, there's an actual point to this. I have found with these hot flashes that you get a little sweaty and gross and a little bit stinky. I am not typically someone who has BO. And I'm not saying that like, because I don't know, I know people who wash constantly and they just naturally have BO, or they sweat a lot, or other things, medical issues that make them sweat, or medicines that makes them sweat, or whatever. That is not me. I typically don't sweat. I'm usually on the cold side. So this whole sweating thing and being a hot thing is kind of new to me. And usually I use an essential oil based deodorant, and it's just really not cutting it. Usually by 2-3 o'clock, I'm like, yeah, I'm a little ripe. And then, of course, I don't want to be around people, and I don't want to stand near people, and I don't want to go in the grocery store or anything, because I'm like, if I can smell me, then I'm sure other people can certainly smell me as well. I reached out into one of my groups and said, is anybody else kind of having the same problem? And actually, somebody from Sage Goddess, I don't know if it was Athena or somebody on the team, probably somebody on the team, because usually Athena just comments as herself, but said to go ahead and take sandalwood and essential oils and an old makeup brush, like a brush for your blush, and put the sandalwood in the palm of your hand or whatever, and then run the makeup brush to it, and then put it on your underarms. So sorry, because I'm really having a hot flash right now. And put that on your underarms. And I tried it yesterday, and it seemed like it really worked. At like 4 o'clock, I'm like, I don't stink. So just wanted to share that little bit of information with anybody, if anybody else is going through, if anybody else is going through the same thing with the hot flashes, or if you have another reason that you're hot and sweaty, You could try that with sandalwood. I'm actually going to try mixing in a little patchouli next time, because patchouli is really good for covering up body odor. The 60s was crazy with patchouli, and that was for a reason. But yeah, so just wanted to share that little tip while I was inviting everybody. So we're going to smudge real quick. Smudge. I try to remember to smudge during every video, but I think my little sage bundle is pretty much down to its last legs here. Don't worry, I have more. And I'm going to light my candle here at the same time. Maybe. There it goes. So I'm going to smudge there. Smudge my hands. Always smudge your hands. You touch so many things and so many people in a day. Just a really good idea to smudge your hands. So we'll do that. And then before we get started, we're going to pull a chakra card. This was actually from 2 weeks ago because I didn't get on Thursday. It was crazy here and there was just too much going on. So this was not last Thursday, the Thursday before. So that was the no worries. And so we're going to put that back. Open up the box. It's been a crazy day. So this is the deck, the chakra healing deck. These are up on the website. I believe they're $24. But remember, when you go on, to always look for, there's always some sort of coupon code. I think right now it's like Fortune 18 or 18 Fortune or something for 18% off. So $24 with 18% off is not too bad. And remember to use your reference code at the end when you're checking out for 2449. So I get credit for the sale. If you forget, it's not a big deal. But you know, I'd like, if I can get the credit, I'll take it. All right, so, and again, just a reminder that we're not pulling a card for anybody particular. We're just pulling a card, but again, as always, if it resonates with you, great. Because I think it's probably meant for someone. There's probably someone watching it at some point. Maybe not right now, maybe not later today, but someone at some point is going to need this card. All right, so we pulled Synchronicity. And so let me read it to you real quick. All right, your deepest insight and intuition have been activated, and others can see it in you. Synchronicities and blessings are seeking you, finding the easiest path to your door. These are the results of divine flow of energy around you, the result of manifestation and deep connection to the source. Enjoy and celebrate what is ahead of you. By honoring and paying attention to the connections and the synchronicities around you, you open doors for additional blessings to arrive. So this is related to your third eye chakra. The crystal is recommending that you work with is labradite, and the herb is blue lotus. So I do have a labradite, and I'm not going to be able to reach it, but I don't have any blue lotus, but that's okay. And I'm going to just take a picture real quick so I don't forget, and get it up on the page for you. I added one of those little apps to remind me to drink water because I'm really bad at it. And like every 2 seconds, every single 2 seconds, it's like drink water, drink water, drink water. All right, so right now I'm drinking some iced tea. Does that count as water? It's made out of water. I don't know. I've heard somebody say once that if you're drinking like tea and coffee, it doesn't count as water. All right. So I have some goodies here, but maybe we'll have some time at the end to go over those. If not, they'll just add to the pile of goodies to go over. All right, so we're talking about Taurus. We've saged, we've pulled our card, we have lit our candle. I think we're good to go. So, Taurus, again, I highly recommend, if you have not done it yet, to go ahead and get your natal chart or your birth chart. You can just go to astro.com. It's free. There's no cost. I don't get anything from telling you to go there. It's a free one, and it's the one I use, and it's a good site. And you're going to need to know your date of birth, your place of birth, and then the tricky one is your time of birth, because you want to know exactly where all the planets and everything was at the very time of your birth. So I know some people have been wanting to get their chart, but we're not able to find their birth time. So recommendations is you can call the town you were born in, call the town office, the town clerks, and get a copy. Some of them charge for copies. So when I was looking for mine, I actually just emailed them and explained what I was that I just needed the time, because I was doing some astrological studies, and they just emailed it back to me, and so it didn't cost me anything. So you can try that. You can try getting a record of your birth records if you can contact the hospital you were born at, and you can ask your mom. Your mom might remember at the time. So I'm horrible. I'm not good with time. I know my kids were born like really early in the morning, like 3-4 o'clock, but I don't remember the time. So yeah, I'm bad with time. I don't remember what time I was born. I don't remember what time they were born. That's why we have things written down as far as I'm concerned. So Taurus, couple things. Taurus, it goes from April 20th to May 20th. So like I said, we do have a couple of more days in the sign of the Taurus, and then we'll be transitioning over to Gemini. I think Gemini will be a fun one to talk about. There's some interesting stuff going on with some Geminis. Taurus is an earth sign, so we know we have earth, air, fire, and water signs. There are 3 of each, and each of those signs is basically related to, there's 3 earth signs, and so one of them is typically a fixed sign, one of them is a mutable sign, and one of them is a cardinal sign. And I believe we've talked about that a little bit, but maybe I will go back and do a actual video on what those actually mean. Fixed sign is pretty much what it is. They're fixed. They're pretty fixed. Mutable, is, again, they're kind of more of a go with the flow kind of a thing. And the cardinal is, kind of like something in between, but it's kind of hard to go over all of that in the little short time we have for a video. So maybe I'll do another video that just goes over those 3 things for you. But the Taurus is a fixed earth sign. And so if you're an earth sign, sorry, my phone is going off like crazy. If you're an earth sign, that means you're pretty grounded. Taurus, out of the 3, even though they're fixed, out of the 3, I would say that they're probably the least grounded than the other 2 earth signs. But they are grounded more than like a Pisces would be grounded. But if you are, again, if you have your birth chart and you can go back and say, in my rising, my sun and my moon, I'm a double fire. And so I would want to work with other things to bring in other elements if I wanted to balance myself. Or if you're looking to enhance something, like I would love to enhance even more my intuition, and that is working with water. So again, it's really kind of fits in for me because it's the blue, which is also, the blue is also my throat chakra, which I want to work with as well. So wearing my blue is kind of two purposes for me. So kind of works out for me that the blue is the good color. And I like blue. Blue is my favorite color, as you can see. But yeah, if you're looking at your chart and you're a Taurus and you're very heavy in the earth signs, to make yourself a little more balanced, you may want to work with some air or fire or water. One of the things I do, just kind of side note here, is to work with the air. I love wind chimes. I have wind chimes all over the place. Well, being in northern New Hampshire, most of the year we spend our time inside, right? Because it's like snowy and yucky and cold. So what I actually did is, it only works, I guess. I have heating vents from the floor. And what I did was I actually hung a wind chime over the heating vent. It's in the kitchen. You probably can't see it because it's in the big windows and it's kind of hard to see back there. But there's a wind chime that's over one of the heating vents. So when the heating vent comes on, it just kind of, it's not a lot of noise, but it just kind of tings and pings a little bit. So it's a good way to bring in some air inside during the winter time when I can't get outside and do other things. So Taurus, we'll start right off with their strengths. They are very dependable. They are very persistent. They're very generous people. They're thoughtful, and they usually have a good sense of humor. So they are they're very stable. They're very secure, and that's where that earth part comes in. They're very strong people. Sorry, it's trying to get comfortable here. I told you guys Tuesday, I was going Wednesday for my shot for my back, and I didn't go because my insurance denied it. So I'm still going to be fidgety sitting here because my back is killing me. But so they're very thoughtful. And Taurus, like we talked about, like Capricorn, doesn't have a huge group of friends. They usually have a very small circle of friends. And once you're accepted into their circle as a friend, they are typically very, very loyal to you. So Taurus is very similar in that fashion. Capricorn's circle of friends is if you are going to help them achieve their goal, if you're going to help them succeed, is how you're going to kind of get into that circle. Where the Taurus is more based on loyalty. If you show a Taurus that you're loyal to them, they are pretty much going to bring you into their circle, and they are going to keep you in their circle. They're going to be pretty loyal to you. But it's going to take a long time. So Taurus are not usually people who have like a big group of friends, typically. And again, this is if Taurus is in your birth sign, your sun sign. Depending on what is in your rising and your moon and other placements in your chart, that is definitely going to change things up for you. So if you're a Taurus and you're like, that's not really me, that is probably because you have a heavy sign somewhere else. So, again, this is just kind of a generalization. Again, in 30 or 40 minutes that I have on the video, I can't break down everything, every little aspect of it. So this is just kind of a generalization. So again, if it doesn't really fit you, then that's because you really need to look at what's in your other placements. Whereas if your Taurus is in your rising or your moon sign, it's going to have a little bit of a different aspect there as well. So, just kind of remember that. But again, really, 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 really recommend having your birth chart done. I tell you, I will swear by it. I did my birth chart, and I did it like late in the year last year, maybe November, December, somewhere around there. I don't remember exactly. And we've been breaking it down. So we've learned about the moon sign, the rising sign, your birth sign. I've learned about house placements and planet placements and all of this stuff. And it really does help me understand why some of the things I do. It's not an excuse to do them, but it helps me understand that, and then it helps me move past that or work on that. Again, one of the big things for me is I have my when my anger comes out, it's really not very pretty, and so my goal on that is to respond and not react, and understanding where my Chiron placement is, and that it's in my 12th house, and all these things really taught me a lot on how to work with that. So again, you probably don't know what I'm talking about if you don't have your natal chart. And I probably sound like I'm just talking nonsense and gibberish. But I really, really, really think if there's something you're struggling with, or even if you're not, it's just great to understand some of this stuff. I never think we can ever learn too much. So again, just recommend it. Get your natal chart, your birth chart. But yes, Taurus. So if you're accepted into their group, it's probably going to be a small group of friends, and it's going to be very loyal people to the Taurus, and really to each other as well. Once you've got in that group, once a Taurus has kind of taken you in, they're going to be very thoughtful and generous to you. They are thoughtful and generous in general, but if you're in that kind of that inner circle for them, they would literally like give you just about anything you needed. If it was their last piece of bread and they had no more food and you needed that piece of bread, they would give it to you and go without. So, and they like I said, they tend to be very funny. They tend to have a sense of humor. But again, this is all, if you're someone who kind of comes in their life and out of their life and in their life and out of their life, you're not going to really get the full feel of what a Taurus is or who the Taurus is, because that person really only does come out to those few, that select few that are in their inner circle. Before we go into challenges, and as I learn these signs, I kind of learn more. So I think like my video on Taurus is going to be much better than some of the videos that I did maybe on Aries or Capricorn in the beginning, because as I learn this more, I understand it more, and I can and pass that on to you better. So one of the things I did want to talk about with a Taurus is, again, some more of the strengths, some more of the positives. Taurus are very creative people. With that said, they are not typically what we call artists. They're not painters. They're typically not songwriters. They're not poets in that sense. Hot flash is done. Now I'm cold. And so I have a Taurus in my second house. And so again, if you don't have your chart and you don't really know much about astrology, that probably doesn't really mean anything to you. But your second house is kind of how you not create beauty, how you manage, I don't know. It's about beauty anyway. And so from my understanding, if you could have a sign in your second house, Taurus is about the best sign you can have there. So I was like, yay, because I have Capricorn in my moon, and from my understanding, that's about the worst sign you could have in your moon sign is a Capricorn. So I'm like, oh, Capricorn in my moon sucks. But I have Taurus in my second house, which is about kind of like beauty and abundance and prosperity. But again, that doesn't always reflect to money. Morning, Annette. Thanks for joining. Hope you're feeling well. We're talking about Taurus today, the sign of Taurus. So Taurus is really, like I said, they're about beauty and about creating beauty, but they're not typically what you would consider an artist. So they're not really, like I said, they're not painters, they're not musicians, they're not poets, they're not that kind. So some of the things that you would probably see a Taurus in is they may be a cosmetologist. They may be into esthetician, which is like perfumes. And that's where I think I love my essential oils. And so I think that Taurus in my second house is kind of where I get that from, because I love essential oils. I love to make my perfumes. You can't see it here, but there are little bottles of oil like all over the place here. So I love that. So they could be an esthetician. Interior decorators would be another really good one for that. Some sort of fashion. They may be in fashion some way. They might be designing, or they might be a model, but they would be involved somehow in fashion. Another thing is they may be dancers. So that is a really amazing way to create beauty, is to dance. So they may be some sort of dancer. Another thing I thought was interesting is they are probably involved in some sort of wedding planning. And I actually have a certificate as a wedding planner. So again, that's probably my Taurus and my second sign there for me. So that was kind of neat how that all falls together. Since the time I was like 5, I wanted to be a cosmetologist. That's all I ever wanted to be. And right up until I was graduating, I had actually enrolled in a school to go for cosmetology. And then I got pregnant. And that all changed. So I couldn't go to school and never became cosmetology. But I've always loved it. I love my hair being done. I love my nails being done. I love, I'm again very high in, I love my fashion. I don't love to spend money. I love to find my bargains. I love to go to my thrift stores and my consignment stores and come out of there with some amazing find that I paid next to nothing for. But that also falls into my Sagittarius sign, which is my sun sign. So Sagittarius are all about looking good. You will probably never see a Sagittarius in their pajamas in Walmart. Probably not going to ever happen. Like even when I go camping and I'm with all my friends and family, I don't like to come out of my camper unless my hair's done, my makeup's done. And yeah. And it's not really, I don't think it's vanity. I think it's just like, I can't go out like this. I don't like to go out in my pajamas, which my other friends they'll come right out and sit at the campfire, in the morning and have their coffee in their pajamas. And I sometimes envy them because I'm like, oh, look, they're so relaxed. It's so stress-free for them. And I'm worried about if my eyeliner is the same on both eyes before I go out. It's just, but yeah, understanding that parts of you helps you kind of deal with those parts of you that are kind of silly and don't always make sense. But again, I really think all that falls back into my Taurus, but again, it also, that kind of fits into my Sagittarius. Sagittariuses want to look pretty all the time, and Taurus wants to create beauty all the time. So kind of is a neat thing for me. But yeah, you'll hear people joke about like my socks match my outfits, my shoes have to match my outfits, like everything like is very, if I'm wearing something that's not matching or going together, people are like, what is going on? Like I walked into work one day and I was wearing green sneakers. My coworker's like, you have green sneakers on, that doesn't match. And I turned around and the emblem on the back of my shirt was green. And she's like, okay. She's like, I get it now. So yeah, it's a thing. But sorry, back on Taurus. So yeah, they are, they usually manage money well. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean, sorry, I'm going to fidget here a little bit. That doesn't mean that they have a lot of money. That doesn't mean that they save money. It just means that the money they have, they manage it very well. I kind of fit in there, but I have a shopping problem. And if you could see around me, you'd understand that I have a shopping problem. But I like to be thrifty. I like to find the bargains. I like to shop when, it's the coupon code for 18% off instead of the coupon code for 13% off. I like to buy things when it's buy something, get something free. I bought 2 little crystals here, and it came with a free bottle of perfume. So I'm very, even though I do shop and I do spend money, I try to be very thrifty with the money that I spend, and I try to get, things out of it when I can. I try to order, if I'm looking for a crystal or something that I need or want, I try to purchase it when there's like a good discount code or when there's a free gift. So a little plug for the page there. But yes, so it doesn't necessarily mean that a Taurus is well off. It just means that the money they have and the money they spend will be spent fairly wisely. They'll manage it fairly well. They're not going to go buy a new Coach purse and not pay their rent. They're going to pay their rent, and then they're going to go to the consignment store and find a purse that somebody didn't want anymore and take it home and make it beautiful and have a brand new Coach purse that they paid like nothing for. So that is very much me. I love to go to the consignment store and find the bargains and the name brands for next to nothing. Go in and buy Aeropostale for $9 for a pair of Aeropostale jeans, where if you went to them to buy the jeans, they would be crazy. So things like that. So we like to be thrifty. Those Taurus, I take part in that now. Part of a Taurus. So Taurus again, because the house. So I just wanted to tie it in a little bit for you. So I said it. My Taurus is in the second house, which is the best placement, and because the second house is kind of about that abundance and prosperity, and Taurus is in the 5th month, which is a very good time for abundance manifestation. We've talked about that, manifesting things. We did that in the last couple of weeks, and we talked about the significance of it being, it's the 5th month, and we did manifestation on the 5th day at 5:55. So all the 5s are very good. So Taurus again is in that 5. It's in the 5th month. So it all kind of ties in that way. The color for Taurus is green. The birthstone is emerald, which I don't. I do have a little emerald here somewhere. It's very little. You can't really tell it's green, but it is. A little emerald there. I have this little tray. And when I tell you you don't need big stones, you don't need big stones. Like I have this tray of all these, just these little teeny tiny stones that I keep right there. And then there's a tray over here with bigger ones, and there's some bowls. They're all over the place. But you know, like I said, sometimes you don't need. This is my aquamarine. Oops, I'm gonna drop it. Like this is my aquamarine. That's the piece I have. You don't need big giant pieces. Anyway, it is emerald. But they are also, I don't have one here. Another one is green aventurine, which is a big one for if you're doing prosperity work, manifestation, anything like that, you would work with green aventurine. Again, so, and that's that green color. You know, they say green is the color of money, but these stones were worked with and done way before we had green paper money. So, but I guess it just kind of fits. But, and again, as always, when we talk about abundance and prosperity, it doesn't always have to be about money. It could be about peace of mind. It could be about love. There's lots of other things that you could want abundance in, happiness, joy. So just because you're working with abundance or prosperity doesn't necessarily mean it has to be financially related. All right. That's my sign of it's getting time to be done. So we'll talk about the last things I wanted to talk about, which I wanted to save to the end, because I wanted to really kind of work on the positives of the Taurus, because there's like the Taurus, I think, is like a really good sign. If you have Taurus in your sun sign, your birth sign, I think that's a really good sign to be in. I have a couple people that are Taurus in my family. My brother is a Taurus. My friend, I have a couple of friends that are Taurus that just had birthdays, and I was horrible and didn't send them happy birthdays on Facebook. Sorry. I sent my brother one like the day after his birthday, and I'm like, I really meant to send you a happy birthday thing like 4 times yesterday. I just was too busy. I forgot. And of course he's like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. I don't care. But yeah, so I think Taurus, I just think Taurus is a really good sign. And I was really, like I said, I was really happy to find that I had Taurus in my second house, which kind of helps offset that I didn't like that I have Capricorn moon. So some of the challenges, they can be stubborn. And again, Sagittarius can be stubborn. So I got a double whammy there. They can be materialistic. Again, they do tend to want to have all the pretty things. They want to have everything that's sparkly and pretty and draws their attention. But they will be thrifty about it. But yeah, they do want all the pretty things, and so they can be a little materialistic. They can be possessive, but again, that goes back to if you are in their circle and you are one of their friends, they've taken you into that little circle, they will give you whatever you need. So even though they are materialistic and possessive, they also can be very generous. So that's I just wanted to kind of go over some of the positive things before we went over some of the negative things. And then, of course, they can be a little self-indulgent, which I can be. That's my shopping problem. So I do have that like materialistic, possessive, self-indulgent side of me that wants, I want all the oils, I want all the crystals, I want all the pretty things, and I want them all right now. But I do understand that I do have to pay my bills first. And then if there's some money left, I can go shopping. So I tend to, like I got a few things here that came up to like $12 with my discount, and I got my free perfume, And then last week I bought a couple things that were like around $14. So I do try to be a little thrifty with that. And believe it or not, I have bought crystals at my consignment store. I have a beautiful, beautiful big piece of amethyst that's on my desk at work that I think I paid like $12 for at the consignment store. And I was like, yes, score. They actually have some amethyst and some fluorite generators there. But I didn't buy them because guess what? I already have an amethyst and a fluorite generator. So as much as I wanted them, I did not get them. I figure if I go in the consignment store and I have some credit, because I take stuff a lot there too, if I have some credit, maybe I will get one with the credit I have. They also have, totally side note here, they have this beautiful, huge drum there. I've been wanting a drum forever, but I'm one of those ones where I don't want to just buy a drum just to buy a drum. I want one that I'm actually like, that I like. But this thing is the perfect size. I love it. And she's got it marked for like $80. I'm like, I cannot spend $80 on a drum. I am not going to be a professional drummer. I just want it to drum to meditate to. And $80 is a little bit steep for me to spend. But it's on my wish list. All right, so yeah, so we can be self-indulgent. They can be stubborn, materialistic, possessive. But again, you know, once they you're in their circle. Sorry, I'm really uncomfortable right now. They will be very generous to you. The possessive can also come into relationship-wise. So again, a Taurus is probably not going to be somebody to just jump into a relationship. They're not going to go from relationship to relationship. They're not going to be your one-night stand kind of people. They are going to, that they have that patience part of them that is going to kind of wait you out. They're going to kind of make you prove that you want to be with them and that you're going to be loyal and you're going to stick around. But once they have that, once they've got that security and that stability with you, then they're going to go over to being a little bit possessive in their relationship. So maybe a little bit, not really jealousy, but it could seem like that, but it's more just possessive of this is mine. Don't touch it. So morning, Anne. Thanks for popping on with me. We're just wrapping up actually, but certainly go back and feel free to watch it. We were talking about Taurus today. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to go over with you. Remember, the full moon is coming up. Full moon, May 18th. So the full moon is going to be in Scorpio. So if you have some crystals, you can certainly put them out to get them charged. If you are interested in making some moon water, there is a video somewhere on the page about moon water if you want to do that. I have a little jar that I keep my water in, and I don't usually take it out every full moon, but maybe like every other full moon I take it out and charge it. Some people drink it. I don't drink it. I tend to wear it. So I put a little bit on I just open the jar, dab my finger in and just put a little on my third eye. So that's a really good way to help with your intuitive side in your third eye. But a lot of people do drink it. A lot of people make moon water by the gallons and drink it. I suppose you could do that. And there's not really any reason why I don't, just besides the fact that I don't have like a lot of containers to do that. And it's not something that really calls to me. But a lot of people do it. A lot of people, you'll see now, they're on Amazon and stuff, the water bottles that you can actually put the crystals in. So that would be really good. If you had one of those, you could fill it with the crystal and then set it out for the full moon and get it charged that way. So you're charging the crystal and the water at the same time. Just note on that, if your bottle doesn't come with a crystal and you're going to use a crystal, just be very careful about which ones you pick, because two things. Some of your crystals will break down in water. If they get wet, they'll kind of they're not gonna like disintegrate, but they'll start to break down. They'll start to dissolve. And so if you used it in the bottle over and over again, and some of them are toxic. Some of the properties in some of these stones, to touch them is fine, to handle them and stuff is fine, but to have it sitting in the water and drink the water, some of them can be toxic to you. So if yours doesn't come with a crystal and you're going to add in your own crystal, just make sure you're doing your research before you do that. Okay. So yeah, that's it. I did share the event for the full moon ceremony Athena does. Again, I've said this again before, but I'll say it again. I have not done any actual rituals with you guys. I have not done any like new moon rituals or full moon rituals because Athena does them. Those are her free videos. She doesn't charge anything to do those. And I always, tell you guys that I think it's really great for you to learn some of this stuff other than from just one person, to get other people's opinions and points of views and ways of doing things. So, if that's something you're interested in, a new moon ritual or a full moon ritual, I do share those on the page for you to watch. So it will be May 18th. Actually, I lied. It's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow night at 9 our time, Eastern time, is when it will be on, and it will be on YouTube. But I did share the event, and so you can find the YouTube link in the Facebook event. So, but again, if anybody's interested in anything, all you have to do is comment or send me a private message, and I'm willing to go over anything anybody wants to learn. Even if I've done a video about it before, if there's something you didn't understand or you want more of, like I said at the beginning of this video, I told you guys that Taurus is a fixed earth sign. And if you're not really familiar with what fixed and cardinal and mutable mean, because I have touched base on it a little teeny bit, but not a lot. So maybe I will go back and do a video on that for you, so you guys kind of have a better understanding of what that means. But definitely get your natal chart. So Anne, you're just popping on. I'm not sure if you've ever got your natal chart before, but you can just go to astro.com and put in your information. It's free. You just need your birth date, your place of birth, and your time of birth. If you don't have your time of birth, you can check your birth certificates. Some of them have them on the birth certificate. If not, you can contact the town where you were born that has your birth certificate. They can give you the time. You can contact the hospital. They can get you the time. Or, you can ask your mom. Your mom may know the time. So, very important to have your natal chart and understand where your signs are and how the placements work for you. Because, like I said, I swear, I feel like in the last 5 months, 6 months of really studying and working on my natal chart and where my placements are and things, a lot of stuff is coming forward that makes a lot of sense to me and helps me understand. And like I said, it's not an excuse to have bad behavior. You can't be like, I'm a Taurus, so I get to be stubborn. And it's like, no, that's not really, that's not really how it works. But you can kind of understand where that stubbornness comes from. So, quick note before I pop off. The biggest signs you want to know is your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign. And so your sun sign is your birth sign. So mine is Sagittarius. My rising sign is an Aries. So what that means is that's kind of how I show up. People, when they first see me, first meet me, they're going to associate me with the sign of an Aries, because that's how I present. It's kind of like your mask, until people kind of get to know you a little bit better. And then your birth sign, your sun sign, is more apparent to people. Your moon sign is kind of your subconscious part, the parts of you that poke out when you're not really paying attention. And mine is Capricorn, which, like I said, is like the worst moon sign you can have. Capricorns are very driven, are very prone for success. I don't know if success is, but they have a goal. Once they have a goal, there's not a lot that sidetracks them from that. And so, but my Capricorn sign is when somebody does get in my way of that, then my anger comes out from my Chiron placement, which is in my 12th house. And when you make me angry, it's not very pretty. So all of this kind of, explains kind of who I am and why I am the way I am. But again, it's not an excuse. It's not like, well, my Chiron's in the 12th house and I can be a bitch. But no, it helps me understand why I get so angry at these things. And you really, people go like, well, that could be anybody. But really, when you start digging down into more than just your birth sign, because your birth sign, your sun sign, is what you get like in the newspaper for your horoscopes and stuff like that. And they're very general. You're like, oh, that could fit anybody. It's like, oh, today you will meet someone new. Well, yeah, anybody could meet someone new. But when you really start to break down the chart as a whole and put all the pieces together and understand what all the little pieces mean, there really hasn't been a piece too much that I have thought, like, that is not me at all. My Chiron placement makes sense. My moon placement makes sense. It all, when I've really dug down and learned about all these different signs and these different placements, it all really does make sense. And I think from 5 or 6 months ago, I think I still have a lot of work to do, but I think I'm really emotionally and personally in a better place than I was 5 or 6 months ago. And again, my personal goal with that part of it is to respond and not react to situations. So I tend to get a little mouthy and aggressive when someone gets in my way. And I want to still be able to push through to people when they get in my way. I want to, have that ability to still go forward even though somebody's in my way. But I want to be able to do it in a way that's going to be a little bit more constructive instead of destructive. So something to work on for me. So with that, I am going to end for today. I think actually I'm going to show you one thing real quick. I wanted to show you this. I bought this, come on, open here. And I had it up on the page, so the link should still be up there for you. So like I've said, I really like my blue stones. I like them for the fact that they bring in water element, which is going to help me with my intuition, which again is the moon water on my third eye is going to help with the intuition. But it also helps with my throat chakra. So you'll see all the blue here. And so this one right here is sodalite. And I wear this all the time. I never take it off. And so they have these amazing slices that you can really see like the inside. Because like when you look at the outside of this one, it's like, I mean, if you look at it closely, there's some lines and stuff in it. But this really, really shows like how pretty the stone is inside. So I just thought, and they weren't very much. I think I paid like $4 for this slice. And so, you could put that somewhere, put your jewelry on it. You could put your generators on it. I could make a little thing and have my generator's on it. Haven't really decided what I'm going to do with it yet, but this is not going to go on my bra. This one is not fitting in the bra. But yeah, I just really thought that that was really, really pretty. And it, like I said, this was $4. And then I ordered another little stone that I'll show you guys next time. But it came with a free bottle of perfume. So I spent $4 and then that other little stone, which wasn't much. And I got a free bottle of perfume, which is like normally like 30 bucks. So look for your coupon codes and look for your the GWP, gift with purchase. But I'll read this to you real quick. I know I've probably read this before, but going over things is not a bad thing. So this is a stone of honesty and seeing positive solutions. Aids in open and sincere communication, brings a sense of confidence and self-esteem, stimulates the mind, connects you to source energy, opens the channels through which divine ideas and inspiration flow freely. So there's that intuition part, connecting to the divine. And then there is the confidence and communication part, which is the third, the throat chakra. But isn't that beautiful for like $4? And it's a good piece. It's a good size piece. You could buy bigger ones. There was ones that were, I think it was like $4 to $17. And this is the small piece for $4. So, sorry. I know. I get excited about rocks. So, it's my addiction. So, with that, I am going to sign off. So, I will see everybody on Tuesday morning. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Take some time to rest. And if you can, take, a couple of minutes out of your day to sit quietly, meditate, do some journaling. If you're not into journaling, you can, just a good thing is light a candle, sit there and just make a mental note that you're going to sit there and just look at your candle for a couple minutes in silence and just kind of decompress. Visualizations, grounding. I'm super excited this weekend to do some grounding. I have not been outside barefoot hardly at all, a couple of times for just a few minutes because it is still a little chilly around here. But I'm hoping it's supposed to start warming up, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be doing some running around outside barefoot this weekend. So some much needed grounding after the long winter. So yeah, have a great day. Have a good weekend. I will see you guys all on Tuesday. Lots of love. And as always, be kind. Your kindness could change your day and could change someone else's day as well. Maybe even their life. So little acts of kindness do make a big difference. Thanks. Lots of love.